Hi everyone. Today we're going to talk about how we paint a raised wooden panel. This is going to use both of the techniques we learned in the earlier lessons on how to paint wood. We're going to use the sponge method to pull off and create a straight grain, and we're going to use our 1-inch fitch and all of those processes to paint a cathedral or a heartwood grain. So let's get started. The very first thing we're going to have to do, as we do in all of these cases, is base paint our flat. This is our local color. This is going to be an oak raised panel. So we're starting with a raw sienna or a yellow ochre. Once we have that base painted and dried, the next step in our process is going to be to lay out the outside frame of our wooden panel, as you can see here. As you can see here, we've sketched in the frame of the panel, which is about the width of a 1x2. It's about 2.5 inches, maybe 3 inches. Again, if you were painting from an elevation, this would all be specified for you. Once we have this all laid out, our next step is to do the same technique we learned in our straight grain lesson. We're going to take our grain color, which is a wash, it's been thinned down, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to paint over one of the boards. In this case, we're going to start with the vertical board, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take our sponge and very carefully pull that grain off and create that beautiful straight grain. We're going to continue to do that for the other vertical and the two horizontals. Now it's important to note here that when you do this, if you look at the horizontals, they're between the two verticals, so we really need to let those two dry at least a little bit. Otherwise, when we go to sponge off and pull off the horizontals, we're going to start messing up that grain. The next thing we're going to do is, once that's all laid in and dried, we're going to go ahead and now we're going to paint our heartwood or our cathedral grain in the center. When you do a raised panel, when they make them, they generally use a much more interesting wood for the panel because that's the focal point of it. So we're going to use the exact same technique we learned when we learned to paint oak. And I'm not going to go through all those steps. You can just review the oak tutorial if you've forgotten how. But we're going to take our fitch and we're going to lay in some grain. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to take the grain wash and lay in the various colors in between to create that variation. We're going to spatter and drag all within that panel. And our cooking show magic once more, and our grain is all laid in. Again, with this technique, there's a lot of drying time. A lot of being a scenic artist is just time management. The next thing we're going to do after that is all dried in is we're going to take our chalk and we're going to sketch in the actual raised panel. So a raised panel is beveled on the sides, and then the center of it is obviously raised up. So again, we're looking at maybe 2 inches, 2.5 inches as a frame of the bevel. We're going at maybe 2.5 inches as the bevel. You see we sketched that in. Our next step is to take the liner brush and then lay in a highlight wash on the left-hand side and the top side. Because this is going to meet up with the shadow wash, because it's a raised panel, what we need to do is we need to bevel, 45-degree bevel, the bottom left corner and the top right corner. In fact, it's not a bad idea to bevel all the corners because it will actually make a difference the way the paint flows. In this video, I'll show you a quick way to do that. Just take a paper towel and lay the paper towel down over the corner, the two corners that you want to do. In this case, I only did the two corners. You really should do them all. And then you're going to take your 1-inch fitch and you're going to take your highlight wash and you're going to lay in that highlight wash. You're going to remove the paper towels. This, again, has to dry. It's a wash. It needs to come to be completely dry. Then we're going to lay our paper towels back down, and we're going to do the exact same technique again. We're going to, except this time we're going to do it with the shadow wash. Once that's dried, we need to take our liner stick, and we need to take our 1-inch fitch and our highlight color, and we're going to highlight up along the left-hand side, because our light is coming over our left-hand shoulder, the left-hand side of the raised panel, and along the top of the raised panel. We're also going to do the inside of the bottom rail and the inside of the right rail, because the light would catch those because the panel is beveled. Where the bevel meets the edge of that wood, you would have a highlight. We're going to reverse and repeat. We're going to do the exact same thing with a cut line. We're going to take the cut line and we're going to do the right hand edge and the bottom edge, and also the bottom of the top rail and the bottom of the the inside of the left-hand stile, in order to create the cut line that would be there. The last step in all of this is we're going to take this highlight color and the cut line color, and where the highlight and the highlight meet in the corner, And where the wash shadow and the wash shadow meet in the corner, we're going to go ahead and put a highlight and a shadow, a cut line respectively in those areas, and that will just complete it. It'll make a nice clean bevel there. Now, I've demonstrated just one panel on our projects. We do two, just to show you what it would look like if we did the entire project. I will go ahead and take away the black masking, and you can see the entire completed project. I want you to know that I can't remember who the student was whose project this is, but this was an actual student's project. I believe someone from Central Lakes College in Minnesota who painted this very project, and I deconstructed for the purposes of this animation. So kudos to whomever painted this. I'm sorry I don't remember. And that's how we paint a raised wooden panel. I hope you enjoyed it.